Hey there, Mama Bear. How does a little R&R sound? I know I could use some, and I invite you to join me. And if you're new here, welcome to this gathering of courageous mamas having real conversation. I'm so glad you're here. This is Motherhood Unmasked, the podcast for you, the mom battling the effects of your childhood trauma. I'm your host, Vanessa Harris, and I'm so glad you're here. Before we get into today's topic, I have a quick question for you. Did you know that your womanhood has everything to do with your childhood? Think about it. What you did or didn't get growing up informs how you show up and move through life today. Women like me, who struggled with insecurity and tried to compensate with perfectionism, found the truths in my book, Daddy's Girl Forever, liberating. And the audiobook is now available on Audible. For a free copy of Daddy's Girl Forever and a free 30-day trial to enjoy other books on Audible, head over to bit.ly/DGF audio. That's bit.ly/DGF audio. Prefer paperback copies of all the books I offer? Then head to vinelifefaith.com/books. Now let's get into today's episode. Rest and relaxation is the buzz phrase now that more of us realize the importance of self-care. I addressed it in episode 10 and in several episodes since because one of the lessons of the pandemic was nonstop hustle is hard on the body. And the forced rest, though due to public safety, gave us the time to recover. And now, coming out of the pandemic, so many of us are singing the praises of self-care and are intentional about making room for it on our calendars. Whether it's regular massages, nail or hair appointments, or overnighters away from home, you know when you're due because you feel it. Your body gives you signs. But you are more than a body. You're also a soul and a spirit, and all three parts of you need care and attention. The trauma you experienced didn't just impact your body. It's hanging out in your soul, where memories and emotions are able to lie undetected. And as you engage in therapy to process the past in order to heal your present, you'll need to make room for a different kind of R&R. Let's call it rest and reflection. Have you ever been prescribed bed rest? Maybe you experienced preterm labor back in the day when bed rest was the treatment. I understand that's changed now in favor of limiting strenuous activity rather than total bed rest because of the potential side effects associated with lying still for extended periods of time. But the principle of rest is still there. Maybe you've had invasive surgery, and even if you wanted to get back to life as usual, the pain in your body told you no. Besides, rest is the body's natural method for self-repair, which is why scientists keep telling us to get the 7 to 9 hours of sleep per night that eludes far too many of us. And you instinctively know the importance of rest because it's your go-to the moment you feel ill. You lie down, hopefully take a nap, and you wake up the better for it. So it's easy to see why you quickly cater to the needs of your body. The fatigue, the pain is palpable and will not be ignored. But the pain in your soul is another story. That pain you buried under busyness, or shopping therapy, or emotional eating. Once you begin therapy, however, years of buried pain gets unearthed, and with guidance from your therapist, you need to figure out what to do with it. And that doesn't happen in a 50-minute session. Most of your processing of the past happens between sessions, as memories resurface and you make connections between present triggers and past trauma. And if you're going to heal well, you'll need to take the time to rest and reflect. Because like me, you have limited time and limited energy. And despite your talent for maintaining a packed social calendar, wounds uncovered in therapy need time to heal. And just like physical healing, that requires energy spent on non-essential activity be redirected to the business of recovery. So don't be surprised by the emotional toll of therapy. In one session, you can feel the joy of an aha moment and the sorrow of a relived moment. Not only does the mood swing affect you, it affects your activity level and the people you engage with afterwards, because the ride doesn't stop just because the session is over. The tears may keep falling for a while. You may sit in shock for a moment, contemplating the magnitude of what you survived. And you certainly won't be in the mood to immediately hold a meeting or volunteer at your child's school or prepare dinner. Right then and at other times, you'll need to take time to do nothing but reflect, and to prioritize that time the same way you do getting a mani-pedi or going for your morning coffee run. Because you're fighting a narrative that says you're not worthy. And if you recall in episode 63, I said you can't put a Band-Aid on something that requires layers of stitches, not if you want to be whole. And you are worthy of wholeness, which means putting in the work you're not used to doing, so you need to prioritize it. So for me, that means meal planning a quick and easy dinner on days I have a session, if I cook at all. Sometimes I delegate making dinner to one of my kids, or my husband picks up takeout on the way home. My kids also know when I'm having a session, and they're old enough to know not to disturb me until I come out of my room. I've been known to take an extra 15 minutes after my session ends to either take notes in my therapy journal while they're still fresh, or to shed some overdue tears. And giving myself time to do that makes the transition into all of my other roles much easier for everyone. But rest and reflection can also look like limiting time on social media, which, for all the entertainment it provides, also exacerbates some of the very insecurities uncovered in therapy. So minimizing time on social media or taking an extended break altogether may be beneficial in your soul healing journey. And what do you do with all that time you're not scrolling? You enjoy the quiet. I'm serious. In the book, The Ruthless Elimination of Hurry, John Mark Comer challenges you to take regular moments of quiet stillness. No phone, no device of any kind, no book, just silence. If you're like me, the first few moments feel uncomfortable because you're so accustomed to distracting yourself from yourself with a phone. But the more you sit, whether with your eyes closed or maybe outside watching a sunset, which is my favorite, the more you pay attention to you, the thoughts you think, the feelings that surface, and the still small voice of God's Spirit. And the peace you feel after making room for stillness outweighs the initial awkwardness. Real talk, even as I encourage you, I'm reminding myself to regularly prioritize that quiet stillness. Even just 15 minutes once a day does wonders for me. So, while I'm all for self-care in the form of rest and relaxation, I am overdue for a massage, actually. I hope I've conveyed the importance of rest and reflection on your journey to being whole, spirit, body, and soul. If you'd like to go deeper, you can find what I affectionately call homework, the work a woman does to build her home and family, in the show notes for this episode at motherhoodunmasked.com/episode 65. So, enjoy your therapy journey. Do the work to honor your worth and prioritize the rest and reflection needed to make that happen, okay? As I mentioned earlier, my book, Daddy's Girl Forever, is a great resource to include in your quest to heal the little girl in you, along with the related devotional and study guide. You can find the links to all of them in the show notes at motherhoodunmasked.com/episode 65. And until next time, please remember, when it comes to you being the mother of your children, it can feel overwhelming as you navigate your own growth journey. But be sure of this, you are the woman for the job. Take care. Thanks so much for hanging out with me and making Motherhood Unmasked part of your day today. If you would, go ahead and hit the follow or subscribe button so that you know when new episodes air and so that other moms will be able to find out about the show. Motherhood Unmasked is brought to you by Vine Life Faith, where we're breaking negative cycles and building healthy community through connection with Christ. VineLifeFaith.com. The views and opinions expressed in this podcast should not be taken as medical advice. The content here is for informational purposes only, and because each person is so unique, please consult your healthcare professional for any medical questions.